Hi, Dr. Paul Haider here. I want to tell you about one group of people and how they've become extremely peaceful and extremely healthy at the same time. And I'm just showing you an example of one way that we can really change our thinking and we can change our lifestyle so that we can become pretty amazing people. You know, I'm talking about the Shaolin priests and the monks in China. And they don't eat any meat of any kind, no animal products of any kind, and it's pretty amazing. They may go to the temple at the age of 3, 5, 8, depending on when their parents bring them, and then they go through an interview process and they want to know about their views on life. At 3 years old. Okay. I guess we have those pretty formed, and we probably picked that up from our parents also. And they do get a lot of protein. They eat a lot of beans of different types, a lot of tofu and nuts, and so they are amazingly healthy on this diet. Also, they do eat carbs in the way of noodles, and they have a rigorous schedule. They start out basically getting up about 5 o'clock, and they end up starting with chanting, and they're doing their chanting until about 6 o'clock, and then they have soup which is made of beans, and then more chanting, and a half-hour break, and then they do 2 hours of qigong or kung fu, depending on what they which temple they go to. And kung fu is powerful, and so is qigong, and it's amazingly physically active, and a person can become super physically fit. Also, after that, they they switch styles every 10 minutes. I mean, they have one particular movement that they're doing and breathing exercise, and then every 10 minutes they're changing. And after that, they are going back to chanting again. At 11:30, they have lunchtime, and that can consist of vegetables and tofu and rice. And they don't drink any liquids when they're with their meals for the most part because they find eating just the food by itself and then digesting it is better, and then having their liquids afterwards. Also, that goes from 11:30 to 12:30, and now it's back to chanting again. And chanting is very important to them, and they chant for about 2 hours, and then they have a little bit of time for a nap or relaxation time or meditation time. And then at 3 o'clock, another session, 2 hour session of Kung Fu or Qigong. And about 5 o'clock, they wrap that up, and then they finally make their way to the dining hall at 5:30, and they have noodles for dinner. And then they go back at 6:30, and they have another hour of chanting. They call the center of the universe chanting. And then at 8 o'clock, they have meditation until 10 o'clock, which is bedtime. And like this helps children to create the proper thinking and ability to focus. And they don't use any harsh words at the temples at any kind. So they will discipline their people, but they don't use any harsh words of any kind. And they do have injuries, of course, and they use Western medicine for diagnostics, but they don't use any Western medication. It's all herbs and natural treatments. And they also take EEG monitorings of the brain to see how their meditation is going. If they're actually doing better and learning to calm down their mind and become more peaceful people. And I think that's pretty amazing. That's really great. And someone once asked, there was a lot of kung fu masters, qigong masters at one time that really were powerful, and they don't seem to see those too much anymore. And they were asking, why is that? Because there's so many Wi-Fi and satellite reception, TV and satellite noise, cell phone noise, that they're not as strong as they used to be, about 15% less. So I think that's pretty interesting also. So that's another thing to stay away from, is that EMF radiation. And also, um, it's finally very interesting that they have this particular path that they're going down. And what they recommend is to love, and don't be selfish, and do random acts of kindness to different people, and pray a lot, pray to God a lot, and also to be nice and practice, 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 because with lots of practice comes great wisdom. And this will bring a person great peace in the end. And there'll be bumps in the path as we grow up, but uh, they never get tired. And because of that, they just keep moving forward, and they're never drained. And someone asked them, why are you so energetic and amazing, and you can do all these amazing poses in Qigong and Kung Fu? And he said, you know what? We don't have meaningless, crazy thoughts running through our heads. We've taken those away. And that's also another reason he said that's why we don't get sick as often as most people. We don't have all those negative, crazy thoughts running through our heads. And so, the mind body is pretty amazing. It's all one. And we know it's one, but we, here in Western society, we take more pills than, it's amazing. We take over 80% of the pills in the world, If you're sad, you take a pill. If you're too happy, you take a pill. If you're too short, you take a pill, If you don't eat, you take a pill, and on and on and on. And just like we seem to think the answer comes in a little thing like this, it's a little pill, It was like, wow. Nope, the answer is to have a ritual process which allows us to find inner peace. And I'm not saying to everybody become a Shaolin priest or monk, no. But we can have rituals in our lives, and that's really important, I get up at 5 o'clock every day. That's a part of my ritual. And to do my meditation first thing in the morning is really super important. I do an hour in the morning, and sometimes they do an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. It depends on the day. And sometimes on Saturdays, I've done up to 4 hours of meditation. And I also, I do a walk with the dogs first thing in the morning for 2 miles. And then I come back and make breakfast for my wife and I, and allow ourselves to get settled in for the day and have our conversations for the day. And then I start doing my writing and doing my videos and writing my articles. I write 8 articles a week, so it's a lot. I have to put it in the time, and discipline comes from my process of having these rituals in my life. And that's really important. And then to get up every hour and do something. I take the dogs out every hour, and also work in the garden a little bit in between, and then come back and do some more writing. And eventually in the afternoon, about 1 or 2, I go and do another 5-mile walk. So that's a total of 7 miles of walking. And also I come back and do my physical workout of training with pull-ups and sit-ups and crunches, and working out with weights, and also doing my qigong, a little bit of yoga at the same time, and then come back and then allow myself to take the dogs out for another little walk, and then get ready for dinner. And in between time, and answering phone calls and emails too. And so I'm cooking dinner, and after dinner I'm actually reading something about, some new research type of stuff, or watching some video about something interesting in a way of spirituality, or something in a way of healing. and also herbs and that type of thing. Also reading a lot about that. And I also read something spiritual before going to bed. And sometimes I'll watch a movie. Not too often. And then I finally get to the point where I go to bed, and before I go to bed, I do another hour of meditation. And that's really important. It helps me to sleep deeply. And usually I hit the pillow and I'm out. In fact, you can push me around and I just don't wake up. And then at usually at 4:45, the alarm goes off, and I'm up and getting into the bathroom and getting ready for the next day. So it's allowing ourselves to have these great rituals that allow ourselves to move to a great way of finding peace inside. I think it's really important that you find your own rituals that you want to use for your own particular way of dealing with life and lifestyle. Maybe, it's a good thing for you to go to church in the morning and sit in the pews and do some prayers. Also, on my walks, I'm doing prayers also. That's important for me. And so that is important. And maybe it's good to go to temple in the morning and sit in temple and do some prayers. You will have to find your process, you know what I mean? And I know people have to work, but there is a way to do this every single day. And you'll have to work around work, and that's why my time, especially in the morning, from 5 o'clock to 8:30 or so is my time. And when I was totally working, working at university and different things, my time from 5 to 8 was my time. Nobody could take that away from me. So that is really important. And that's when I would do my exercise and everything and get myself ready for the day. And I think that's really important. Most people in this life right now don't have any rituals. And it's really important that we set down ways of living so that we can be closer to God and find peace and change the world at the same time. It's been proven over and over and over again that anytime we meditate, especially in a group, we change everything in the area around us. There's a lot of people who did meditation in Washington, D.C., and they had thousands of people meditate, and they saw a drop in the crime rate of 25%, and this happened over and over and over again. So we have hundreds of studies showing this. So if we allow ourselves to meditate, somebody asked me, what about these monks? Are they making a difference in the world? And I said, yes, they are. They're making a difference in the world because they're meditating a lot of times on peace, and we need peace right now desperately. We have more wars going on in the world than any other time in the history of mankind. So we really need to have great peace. And what better way than to meditate, than to learn Vipassana meditation? You can find that retreat, that 10-day retreat online for free. Vipassana, Vipassana. And I tell you, you will be a different person when you walk out of that retreat. It's all free. The food and lodging is all free. All you have to do is show up. What better deal is there in that? They're given around the world and all across the United States, and it will change your life. And I've had a lot of people go, and it's amazing. And also learning TM. Now, TM is amazing also. It's so simple. It takes 4 evenings usually to learn. It's about 90 minutes each time. And learning meditation, you really need to learn from somebody who can be there in person with you, because they can watch your breathing and see how you respond to certain questions and that type of thing. And, was that easy? And it should be a natural, easy process. It's so simple to learn. And once you get it down, it'll change your life forever. And, I was a depressed person in my 20s, all the way up through my 20s. And when I learned meditation, it changed my life because I've never been depressed ever since that time. So if you have depression, I highly recommend you learn meditation and practice it every day. Even the Army is using TM for people with post-traumatic stress disorder. And there's people that are not in the Army, a lot of people in this regular life that have post-traumatic stress disorder because of just daily life, because they're so stressful now. So if you learn Vipassana or TM, you can change your life. And it's about putting in the time every day. Putting in the time. You know, if you want to be a great baseball player, you got to put in the time. Football player, you got to put in the time. You got to be a tennis player, you got to put in the time. You want to be a great piano player, you got to practice. And the same thing with meditation. You got to practice. Practice, practice, practice. And that's really what it is. And it brings about a whole bunch of benefits, and health benefits, and benefits to the social life and family life and all kinds of things. So think about these Shaolin monks and see how you can devise ways to create rituals of your own and have a really peaceful and healthy life. Remember, my consultations are free. If you'd like to get a hold of me, all my contact information is down below. And my Skype address is there, my email, my phone number, and you can get me on Facebook under Dr. Paul Haider and message me there. You can text me. And if there's anything, all my consultations are free, so feel free to connect with me. And also, if you want to subscribe, I greatly appreciate that. Tell other people, because I'm trying to get the word out. And also, if you care to make a donation, that is really greatly appreciated. My wife and I really appreciate that so very much, and want to thank you in advance for that. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. And remember, I love you.